Hi, I'm Rob Nichols, and in 2014, June of 2014, I decided with my wife to pick up the violin for the first time. I've been playing guitar for more than 20 years, on and off, with a love-hate relationship. And after purchasing Rocksmith 2014, I discovered that the game gave more of an incentive to continue practicing. That started with Rocksmith on my guitar back in December of 2013. And through the course of practicing and playing the game, after deciding to play the violin, or try to play the violin, the game kept beckoning to find a way to improve my violin skills through that positive reinforcement that the game provides, because it gives you real-time feedback on what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, especially with intonation and bends, things like that. Given that the violin has no frets, fingering the note exactly is one of the most difficult aspects of the instrument. That and bowing at the same time, because they're two completely different motions. So in any case, I started on a project, I believe it was in July, after discussing the idea with my violin teacher. And she was very excited to see how this worked. There was a lot of positive response through forums and Reddit, and on the one video that I posted for the instructor to see how the game would work. So I'm creating this short video as an introduction to the latest little small practice piece that I've ported to Rocksmith, and I'll give you a quick overview of the setup that I'm using for those of you who may be interested in trying to pursue a similar endeavor. This is not scripted or anything, so I'll just wing it. Alright, so my home setup is fairly straightforward. I've got a Tascam microphone that came with my mixer that I bought for the PC for recording. The microphone has an XLR connector. The XLR connector is a grounded connection. I don't know if that will get in focus, but you can see it has three pins. There's a positive, a negative, and a ground. That cable goes into the microphone, and you follow that down to the direct box that is right here. The input side is the microphone coming into the direct box, and the output is the Rocksmith instrument cable. The normal setup that I use when I'm playing guitar is the guitar goes into that input, Rocksmith is the output, and on the back side you can see this low Z output and ground lift. That outputs to my guitar pedal, which routes of course to my amp. So I can use my foot switch to switch between channels. I've got my effects in the chain, and I can play through my real amp while playing the game. The game recognizes my signal and tells me if I've missed a note or not, and the pedals are out of the chain so that Rocksmith never sees them. That is key to being able to use like a wah-wah pedal and the game saying you missed a note. Okay, on the technical aspect of the custom creation process, there are a couple of tools that are out on the internet that can be found at Customs Forge. Smithy Anvil was where I began my custom creation process. I guess it was, my first one was Ingve Malmsteen's Hold On back in December, early January. In any case, the Editor on Fire is the application that I'm using for creation of the custom that is compatible with Editor on Fire, with Rocksmith. Essentially, the program allows you to import an MP3 file, and very much like the old Guitar Hero game or Rock Band, you could create a chart that defines what position for Rocksmith, where the finger goes on what string. And essentially, as you can see, this is the fourth note on that bass. On a bass, it would be the A string. On the violin, it is tuned differently. As you can see over here on the left side, the tuning starting from the thinnest string to the heaviest is E, A, D, G, because it's tuned in perfect fifths starting from the heaviest. So G, D, A, E are all fifths. In any case, the chart is created. Sections are added at the top, the count in, as you can see, and then the dynamic difficulty within the game so that it registers that you're playing a part similar to a later part, and it'll ramp up the difficulty on you. That's based around how the sections are allocated. Section and phrase are defined at the top of the screen here. And essentially, I'm going to take this audio and the chart, and I open them up in WWise and convert into a WEM file, which is compatible with the game. I use paint.net to make a DDS file for the picture, and then a Rocksmith toolkit is what actually does the conversion. As you can see, all four of the primary platforms are supported by this tool, although for the charts that I make, I just turn off those other options because my download counts for the songs that are popular, like Satriani's Serving with the Alien. I believe the download count was close to 1,000 total, and of those, the PS3 and Xbox downloads were only like 20. So it seems, it's a smaller audience, and I only have a certain amount of file space online. The package is defined within the Rocksmith custom toolkit, and because the violin is only four strings, the only compatible instrument is bass within the game. I am not a programmer, so I don't know how to customize the GUI and make it actually look more like a violin, and I have no interest in doing that. It's I don't want to break the end user license agreement for the game. The file, after it's been exported, it comes out in a XML file for Rocksmith 2, which is the 2014 edition. And as you can see, this is the most important aspect of getting the game to recognize that you're playing an instrument other than a bass. The bass is 2 full octaves lower than a violin. The standard tuning of the violin is normally 441, but for most recordings they tune to 440 to be compatible with modern tunings. The 440 tuning, 1 octave higher, is 880, and then a second octave above that is 1760. You have to double it each time. So as you can see, the tuning is recognized as, for bass, it's +3 to make it a G, +5 to make the A string into a D, and making this fifths all the way down. And no, I want it to be broken as far as the game's concerned. Scroll speed defines how quick the notes come at you, and this is, again, is just the technical aspect of it for people who know how to make customs or are trying to get into it and wanted to try to make a violin part. The same could be done for a cello. You just have to modify the tuning. I believe the cello is just 2 strings lower, so instead of ending at the G, it would be D, G, B, E is the strings, going from thin to low. Okay, so I've already copied the custom file over to my Rocksmith, the downloadable content directory, DLC, and I've launched the game. And before I can begin playing with the violin, I need to modify the gain settings for the real tone cable. This is because microphones have a lower output than a musical instrument such as a guitar or bass, and the gain setting will allow you to play and the microphone pick it up properly. So I've already launched the game, pressing space to access tools on the PC, and going to Options, Audio Settings, and Real Tone Cable Gain. As you can see, the gain setting is at 1 dB, which is appropriate for my guitar, but the microphone wouldn't pick up. So I'm just going to use the arrow key, and I know that this particular microphone, 9 dB, is sufficient for it. Turn off the mic for a moment there. The real tone cable gain may need to be adjusted depending on your microphone. If you happen to try this, you may need a plus 10 dB. Some microphones are a little hotter than others, and distance from the microphone for the instrument is going to be a major factor. I know that the instrument, as I'm playing it, I'm about 3 inches from the mic, so plus 9 is sufficient for me. If I was further away, I might need to go to plus 10 for the game to register it. So upon completion of the setting, you have to go through the calibration step. I'm turning my mic back on. And we have success. Okay, so now that I've gotten past the calibration step and the microphone is going to be working properly for the game, I'm ready to go into learn a song mode.
Learn a song.
Could do score attack if I was comfortable enough with being able to play it and not fail out. It seems less productive to do score attack until you're ready to actually put yourself to the test and see if you can do it perfectly or near it. In any case, the Ode to Joy is the tune in question. The first thing you're going to need to do after loading the game is get past the tuning step. The game will not allow you to proceed to the chart until your instrument is verified to be in tune. As you can see here at the bottom right hand corner of the screen, true tuning A1760. As I believe I stated earlier, bass is 2 octaves lower than the violin, and the way that the game senses the frequency and determines that you are correct in your tone is to base it off of a core frequency, A440. Because we've increased that by 2 octaves, there's a little bit of variance in the game because of the tune being 1760. So it will allow the instrument to be a little bit sharp or a little bit flat. That's because of mathematics involved with the core frequency being much higher than 440. It's easier for it to say you are close enough, so to speak. There's more variance allowed. So even if I'm a little bit sharp or a little bit flat on the violin, the game should recognize that I've hit the correct note. If you're a little too far out, of course, it's going to fail that note and say it was missed. So I've got the microphone ready here, and I'm ready to get to the tuning step. Try to remember, I've only been playing for about 6 months, so I may butcher this. We'll see. This chart repeats without the violin part in the orchestra. wasn't perfect, but that's the whole point, really, is that the game can, I believe, help with getting you up to par with where you want to be. The
Masterful
immediate
performance.
feedback of how you're doing and letting you know what parts you're missing, especially if you have the ability to record your playback and watch it and make a note of where you've made a mistake. I think that could be invaluable. Score attack, of course, once you've gotten to a certain point, is going to be a great benefit if you choose to use it, because in score attack your multiplier drops back down or reduces to 0 with the previous checkpoint anytime you miss a note. If you miss too many notes in a row, of course, you fail the entire song. So I wouldn't recommend practicing just getting to know the song in score attack mode. But that concludes this particular video on how the Violin project works. And I have so far 3 different songs charted. I may add the violin part for Last Chance by Shooting Star, which I've already done for guitar and bass. And it's got a nice violin piece in there. So maybe I'll do that next. But again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this.